Hey book lovers, Victoria here and you're watching My Books and Me. Today I'm going to be bringing you my 2017 most anticipated releases, more specifically the books in the first quarter of the year, because obviously we know about most of the books that are coming out next year, like the beginning of the year, not so many at the latter part of the year. I felt like I should divide them up I felt like I should probably do maybe 4 videos on my most anticipated releases, so I'm hopefully going to be able to do some more next year. So this video is mainly focusing on the books that are coming out between January and April. I actually have a shelf on Goodreads, which I'll link to below, with all of the 2017 releases I'm excited about. There are 38 books on the shelf currently, but I will be adding obviously more as more release dates and I find more books as more release dates are released and I find more books that I'm excited about. Scrolling through the list, I've realised that most of the books on the shelf are sequels in series that I haven't yet started but I'm excited to read. So I'm not going to be mentioning those books, but you can go and see that shelf. As I said, I will link to it below. So enough rambling, let's get into it. I think there are about 11 books on this list that are coming out at the start of the year. I think I did leave some off I think I left some books that are on my shelf off for some reason. But anyway, these are 11 I'm excited about. You can check out the shelf on Goodreads if you want to see more. The first book comes out on the 3rd of January, and that is Flower by Elizabeth Craft and Shea Olsen. I think that's how you say her name. And this is a YA contemporary, one of the few contemporaries that I have on this list. Most of the books are fantasies. In this book we follow this girl who just wants to succeed in school, to go on to her college of choice, and just, you know, to really keep her head down, pursue her dreams. She wants to make her grandmother proud, and she doesn't want to follow the same path that her mum and her sister went down, which was boys. She doesn't want to get distracted by anything. She doesn't, what I can assume was that maybe her mother fell pregnant young, maybe her sister's going through the same thing, I don't really know. The point is, she doesn't want to follow the life choices that they've made because she's seen how their lives have ended up. However, she then meets this guy called Tate, who is the biggest pop star on the planet and has taken an interest in her. And so he is kind of whining and dining her, and she doesn't know whether it's a good or a bad thing that she's sort of getting taken off the path that she's going on, despite her trying to stick to keeping her head down. It just sounds like an enjoyable read, and since recently I'm becoming very into contemporaries of late, I'm excited for this one. The second book comes out on the 10th of January, and this is Freaks by Amanda Hocking. I really enjoy Amanda Hocking's work, and I haven't read enough of it, but I'm very excited for this one. We are taken to Gideon Daveron's travelling sideshow, where necromancy, magical visions, and pyrokinesis are more than just part of the act. And we follow this girl Mara, who is part of this travelling show, but she just sort of wants a normal life in a normal town. She's kind of sick of being surrounded by all these people who have these weird magical abilities. I don't know if she has any sort of ability. So when they set up camp in a town in Louisiana, Mara ends up meeting this local boy, Gabe, and she sort of starts realizing that normal life is something she really wants, especially after meeting Gabe. However, the more she sneaks off with this Gabe during the time that the show is in town, she realizes that there is a sinister plot and evil in town that is trying to get rid of the freaks that are in her sideshow. So I think she's got to sort of she realizes how much that everyone in the sideshow means to her, and she realizes she has this ability that will help save them. It sounds amazing. By the looks of it, it is a standalone. The cover looks gorgeous, so I'm very excited for this one. Also on the 10th of January, we have Frostblood by Ellie Blake. This has been promoted for fans of the Red Queen series by Victoria Aveyard, which I'm excited about. As you all know, I love those books. So we are set in this world where the land is governed by Frostblood, and we follow this 17-year-old girl, Ruby, who is a fireblood, and she has had to hide her secret and her ability over light and heat for most of her life. However, one day soldiers come in and they kill her mother. So Ruby vows revenge on getting justice for her mother by killing the Frost King. We follow her journey on sort of learning to harness her powers for revenge. And we are set in a world where flame and ice are mortal enemies, but together create a power that could change everything. This is the first book in the Frostblood saga, so that's exciting. I can definitely see why it is very similar to the Red Queen series, but I'm excited nonetheless. Then we have possibly everyone's most anticipated and most hyped up release of 2016. That comes out on the 31st of January, and that is Paravel by Stephanie Garber. This is the first book in an untitled series. This book has received so much hype. It is not funny. People have had review copies of this book for so long. The cover is absolutely gorgeous and the synopsis sounds amazing. This is a book that I am so excited about, and I'm going to be so disappointed if it does not live up to expectations, but I've heard amazing things about it by people who have read it, so I'm so excited. So there's this show called Paravel, which is a once a year show where the audience gets involved. So we follow Scarlet and Teller, who are sisters who live with their powerful and cruel father. Scarlet's father has arranged a marriage for her, and Scarlet has always had a dream of seeing Paravel, and she thinks now that they're over because she's going to get married. But despite thinking her dream is over, an invitation to the event soon arrives. So with the help of a mysterious sailor, Teller whisks Scarlet away to the show. Only as soon as they arrive, Teller is kidnapped by Paravel's mastermind organizer. Legend, it turns out that this season's Paravel revolves around Teller, and whoever finds her first is the winner. And with this Paravel, it's a game. At the end of the show, everything is fine, nothing bad happens. Scarlet has been told that everything that happens during the performance is only an elaborate performance and everything will be okay, everything resets, no one gets hurt. Even though Teller is taken, she's not gone, she'll get her back at the end of the performance. But she nevertheless becomes enmeshed in the game of love, heartbreak and magic with one of the other players of the game. And whether Paravel is real or not, she must find Teller before the 5 nights of the game are over. A dangerous domino effect of consequences is set off and her sister disappears forever. And this book, like I said, it's got an amazing hype and reviews so far. It sounds amazing. Even before everyone and their dog started talking about it, when I first I think saw the cover of it, it sounded amazing. So I am so pumped for the book. Bring it on. So then the next book that I'm excited about next year comes out on the 7th of February, and that is Winter Song by S.J. Jones. And we are in this world where there is a Goblin King, and we follow 19-year-old Liesel, who has grown up hearing about the tales of the mysterious and beautiful Goblin King. He's the Lord of Mischief, the ruler of the underground, and the muse around which her music is composed. Yet as Liesel helps shoulder the burden of running her family's inn, her dreams of composition and childish fancies about the Goblin King must be set aside in favour of more practical concerns. But then her sister Kathy, is taken by the goblins, so Liesel has to journey into their realm to rescue her sister and return her to the world above. The Goblin King agrees to let Kath go for a price. The life of a maiden must be given to the land in accordance with the old laws. A life for a life, he says. Without sacrifice, nothing good can grow. Without death, there can be no rebirth. In exchange for her sister's freedom, Liesel offers her hand in marriage to the Goblin King, and he accepts. So we then follow her in the underground realm of the goblins. That should be interesting. This appears to be a standalone. It sounds quite interesting. And yeah, it's gotten some pretty good reviews so far. It sounds very intriguing and like a nice bit of romance happening. Also coming out on the 7th of February is my most anticipated release for the entire year, and that is King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard, the 3rd book in the Red Queen series. We pick up after the events of the 2nd book, and if you've read the 2nd book, you will know how that ends, and just how anxious I am to get into this 3rd book, because everything was really happening at the end of that 2nd book. A lot of shit went down, and the ending, the cliffhanger, holy crap. crap, just I've been waiting for this second book. I've been waiting for this third book from the moment I finished the second book, and I finished the second book before it came out this year. I am just so unbelievably excited for this book. I have seriously high hopes for this. Like, I don't really know where the story's going. I have read over the synopsis for this book, but to be honest, I don't want to read it again. I just want to get my hands on this book and I just want to dive straight in and see what happens. Really, I don't know where this story is going to go. I don't know where it's going to happen. For those who don't know, and I don't really want to spoil what happens in the second book, we are following Mayor Burrows, who is a red, living in a world where the Silvers who have superpowers are the ruling elite. She discovers that she has a silver power despite having red blood. She's initially going to be married off to the second prince, and she kind of has a thing for the first prince, but shit goes down and she has to go on the run with Cal, who is the prince, the eldest prince, I should say, and she begins tracking down other reds who have silver powers, but she has to fight against the second prince, who is determined to destroy her and everyone like her, because these reds with silver powers are more powerful than the silvers. And let's just say things got real at the end of that second book. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it goes. I totally ship Mare and Cal. They are so cute together. Just let's do this. My next most anticipated release comes out on the 9th of February, and that is Read Danis by Josh Martin. I think I said that wrong. Read Danis. Probably wrong. This appears to be another fantasy standalone, and we are following Juma and Alua, who are chosen. They will never be normal. They can never be free. On the last island on Earth, chosen ones are destined to enter Danis on the day they turn 18. There, they must undertake a mysterious and deadly challenge. For Jumia and Alua, I think that's how you say the character names, I'm not quite sure, this means competing against each other to end the war that has seethed between their cities for 9 generations. As the day draws nearer, all thoughts on the trial ahead. As the day draws nearer, all thoughts are on the trial ahead. There's no space for friendship, no time for love, however much the girls might crave them. But how you prepare for the task, you know nothing certain about. Nothing except that you must win at whatever cost or lose everything. Again, this just sounds really interesting. I haven't really heard anything about this. I don't know if anyone has got to read it early or not, but it sounds good. The cover looks good, and I'm just all for these chosen fantasy thingies. I don't know. Sounds good. The next book is another fantasy which comes out on the 21st of February, and this is Long May She Reign by Rhiannon Thomas. Again, appears to be another fantasy standalone. I'm all for these fantasy standalones next year, apparently. We follow this girl, Feyre, who was never meant to be queen, but obviously she must, apparently. We follow this girl, Feyre, who was never meant to be queen. She's 23rd in line. Like, hello, she was never destined to sit on the throne. But, however, when an extravagant banquet turns deadly and the king and those closest around him are poisoned, Feyre suddenly finds herself on the throne. She's never wanted to be on the throne. She's always wanted to research in her laboratory, then be involved in anything to do with the court. Just not something she wants, but obviously now she's thrust onto the throne. Freya, may have escaped the massacre, but she is far from safe. The nobles don't respect her, her councillors want to control her, and with the mystery of who killed the king still unsolved, Freya knows that a single mistake could cost her the kingdom and her life. She's determined to survive, and that means uncovering the murderers herself. Until then, she can't trust anyone, not her advisors, not the king's dashing and illegitimate son, not even her own father, who always wanted the best for her, but always wanted more power for himself. As Freya's enemies close in and her loyalties are tested, she must decide if she's ready to rule, and if so, how far is she willing to go to keep the crown. That one just sounds, again, really fun, and I think I'm into those sort of fantasies where it's like, you know, you're chosen against your will, You're gonna learn to love that role. People want to kill you for that role, so you better learn to survive. It's gonna be a good start of the year, I think. Surprise, surprise, another fantasy, and this one is so close to being a Red Queen book. It's really not funny, but I'm still excited to read it, and that is Blood Rose Rebellion by Rosalind Eves. This comes out on the 28th of March, and it is also the first book in the Blood Rose Rebellion. So in this book, we follow 16-year-old Anna Arden, who is barred from society because of a defect in her blood. Most of her family are part of, I'm going to say, the Illuminati. I don't think that's how you actually say it. They're powerful users of magic. She is completely barren. She has no drop or ounce. She has literally no drop of magic in her. She would do anything to belong, because obviously if you are the only person in the magical world that doesn't have powers, you're going to be kind of left out of things. But her fate takes her another course when, after inadvertently breaking her sister's debutante spell, an important chance for a highborn young woman to show her prowess with magic, Anna finds herself exiled to her family's once powerful but now crumbling native Hungary. Her life might well be over. In Hungary, I don't think I'm saying it right. In Hungary, Anna discovers that nothing is quite as it seems. Not the people around her, from her aloof cousin Naomi, to the fierce and handsome Romani Gabor, not the society she'd known all her life. For discontent with the Illuminati is sweeping the land, and not her lack of magic. Isolated from the only world she cares about, Anna still can't seem to stop herself from breaking spells. As rebellion spreads across the region, Anna's unique ability becomes the catalyst everyone is seeking. In the company of nobles, revolutionaries, and Romanis, Anna must choose: deny her unique power and cling to the life she's always wanted, or embrace her ability and change the world forever. So, I'm excited for this one. Second last book on this list also comes out on the 28th of March, and that is How to Be Boss by Lily Singh, aka Superwoman. This is completely different to any other book. I think on my entire anticipated releases list, this is Lily's guide to conquering life. How to be confident, how to not let things in life get you down, how to be a strong person. And I am so excited for this. I love Lily, and I think she is not only a hilarious person, but she is really good with motivational speaking and giving you some really good life advice. So I think this book is going to be great, not just because I do like her, but because of what of the message she's trying to get across. This is probably going to be a book that I'm not going to sit down as soon as I get it and read right through it. I definitely think it's a book that I will slowly make my way through, but I'm excited nonetheless. Yes, it's kind of just another YouTuber book, but I think the message behind it is going to be amazing, so I'm really excited to see what Lily's done with this book. The final book comes out on the 4th of April, and that is Toward a Secret Sky by Heather McLean. And I'm excited for this because it takes place in Scotland, so that's exciting. We follow 17-year-old Maren Hamilton, who is orphaned, and she's sent to live with her grandparents that she's never met in Scotland. And she then receives an encrypted journal from her dead mother that makes her and everyone around her a target. It confirms that her parents were employed by a secret international organization that's now intent on recruiting her. As Maren works to unravel the clues left behind by her mother, a murderous madness sweeps through the local population, terrorizing her small town. Maren must decide if she'll continue her parents' fight or stay behind to save her friends. With the help of Gavin, an otherworldly mercenary she's not supposed to fall in love with, and Graham, a charming aristocrat who is entranced with her, Maren races against the clock and around the country, from palatial estates with twisted labyrinths to famous cathedrals with booby-trapped subterranean crypts, to stay ahead of the enemy and find a cure. Along the way, she discovers the great truth of love, that laying down your life for another isn't as hard as watching them sacrifice everything for you. This looks like, again, to be a standalone. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty epic story. Again, it's another fantasy, science fiction-y kind of thing. Very excited. There are a crazy number of amazing sounding books that are coming out next year. Like I said, this is only 11 of the books that I'm excited for. There are so many sequels to amazing series that are coming out next year. Like, these are just the books that are coming out in the first 4 months, and there are so many that have already been announced that are coming out in the rest of for the rest of the year. But there are obviously going to be heaps of books that currently don't have release dates that we know about, or books that we don't even know about that are going to be amazing. We're definitely not going to run out of things to read next year. It makes me kind of regret not reading more books that I currently own, because I'm going to be buying all of these books next year, but that is not the point. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on these books, if you're excited for any of them, and any of books that you're excited about reading next year. I definitely want to try and find as many amazing new releases next year to add to my bookshelf. Definitely go check out my 2017 releases shelf on Goodreads. It will be linked in the description below, as well as a link to all of these books, and a blog post I did with all these books and their synopsises and everything like that. Like, I thought there were heaps of amazing books that came out in 2016, but this list just is proof that there are so many more amazing books coming out next year. I don't know when I'm going to get the time to read them, but we'll do this, guys. We're going to read all of these new amazing books, and I'm going to keep ahead of my... No, I'm not. I'm not going to keep ahead of my TBR. Anyway, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon with another video. Bye!